I hope you've enjoyed these podcasts as much as I've enjoyed creating them. I'm still working on the next series, but I hope this one has whetted your appetite about this largely ignored and forgotten era. If you'd like further information on the Byzantine Empire, there are a number of books which a little persistence will turn up. Unfortunately, good ones on Byzantium are few and far between, and finding a readable, comprehensive one can be a bit tricky. There are several good general histories. John Julius Norwich, on whom I've leaned heavily, wrote a wonderful one called A Short History of Byzantium, well worth reading in its 3 volumes, but also available in a single abridged version. George Ostrogorski's History of the Byzantine State was long considered the standard for the previous generation, but's a bit dry. And for a more contemporary view, there's Timothy Gregory's A History of Byzantium. And then, of course, there's the grandfather of them all, Gibbon's epic Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. 6 volumes of biased but beautiful prose. You'll have more luck with certain periods of Byzantine history. For example, my favorite author, Sir Stephen Runciman, wrote a brilliant little book called The Fall of Constantinople, 1453. He has an engaging style and a really sharp wit, which does a great job explaining what 1453 must have been like, both for the invading army and for those trapped in the city. Other books you might want to check out are Jonathan Harris's Byzantium and the Crusades, or Donald Nichols' The Immortal Emperor, about the life and legend of Constantine XI. There are also numerous primary sources, the most interesting of which is undoubtedly Procopius, the scandalous secretary of Belisarius, who wrote long panegyrics about Justinian's buildings and wars, and one rather nasty book called The Secret History, where he detailed all the court gossip about the foibles of the emperor and his low-born wife. There's also the remarkable Byzantine princess Anna Komnena, who wrote the Alexiad, perfectly capturing the Byzantine reaction to the strange and terrible Crusaders. You get the feeling she was both fascinated with and repulsed by the Westerners. A final book I'll mention, though not a primary source, is Colin Wells' Sailing from Byzantium, How a Lost Empire Shaped the World. Unlike the others, this isn't a history of Byzantium so much as a study of the impact it had after the fall. Looking at the Slavic, Western, and Islamic worlds, this charming little book details the spread of Byzantine culture to each of the 3 distinct groups. Right now I'm working on a book of Byzantine history, which explains the slow release dates of the podcast. The book will fill in the details, putting muscle and skin on the skeleton these podcasts have provided. It's also a look at why Byzantium matters, or should, to all of us. Look for it in the spring of 2009 from Crown Publishing, a division of Random House. This list, of course, is not close to being comprehensive, but part of the enjoyment of Byzantium is the discovery on your own. As always, the best way to get a sense of Byzantium is to travel to the countries where it was. The magnificent mosaics of Justinian and Theodora in Ravenna, the mystery of Athos and Mistra, the splendor of St. Mark's, Monreal, and Palermo, and the heartbreaking Hagia Sophia. There you can feel Byzantium swirling around you, gently and insistently hinting at the glories of the vanished world. Lastly, I'd like to thank you all for spending some 6.5 hours with me on a journey through the triumphs and the sorrows, the intrigue and the missteps, the glorious heights and the tragic, bloody depths of this forgotten empire. 88 men and women sat on the Byzantine throne, not counting the pretenders and rebels who called themselves emperors. And the 12 that we've looked at are only the barest tip of the iceberg. I hope you'll be inspired to find out the rest of the story. Thanks for listening, and happy reading.